Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Friday, 1st of November of 2024. It is being going through 2024 at full speed, at full throttle, at full blast. And well, today, in fact, is a strange Friday because many people, I think, right, are kind of taking the day off. I don't know because it's actually not a holiday. We're not on a holiday, but I feel like people suddenly went partying last night, right? And today, well, they're already in weekend mode, right? In long weekend mode. I don't know. Not us. We are here working. We are, well, busy with our own things. And as I promised, well, today I want to make this video. Today I want to make this video talking, sharing a bit of my experience with the Jehovah's Witnesses, but from a professional perspective. That is, we are not going to start philosophizing or talking about spiritual topics. Everything that I experienced, right? During that time, it has always served me, and I tell Mariana, my wife, I say, Mari, look, I mean, I learned these things, and it's what I normally apply in my work, right? Well, over there, Saul is greeting. Hello, Saul. He's saying here, greetings, master. Good afternoon. Still here in the office? No party. Yes, exactly. I don't know if what's it called? Well, yes, right. I mean, there are people that today I feel like they left, right, on vacation. I don't know. Well, my people. So, if you have any questions, of course, I don't know. Maybe there won't be many people connected. Who knows? It's not like I want us to throw a party with the topic here, right? Rather, it's more about trying to understand some parameters I use, which have helped me and really make a mark. They set a guideline, right? They define a style in the things I do. For example, let me put it this way. Uh, at some point, I'll tell you how I met, how, let's say I started, right? My life with Jehovah's Witnesses, how I met them, and how that onboarding was. But the important thing, what I want to start with is the following. At 15 years old, more or less, 15 years, yes, it was the first time I knocked on a door to talk about a message, in this case, a biblical message. It is no, uh, it is no secret to anyone that, well, there are people who greatly respect what the Jehovah's Witnesses are and what they do. And there are others who, well, don't agree much with the ideas and don't really support, well, the activities. One of those activities is knocking on doors. Why? Because sometimes they always say to you, no, imagine a Sunday at 9 in the morning, they knock on your door, or I don't know, a Saturday, they knock on your door, you know? And obviously, I knocked on many doors. I knocked on doors at all hours, in many places. I mean, the Jehovah's Witness, generally, even when they are a Bible student, until they get baptized, and then, right, formally, they become a Jehovah's Witness. They have the responsibility to share what they are learning with others. So, there's a first parameter I would like to share with you. I am speaking from since I was 15. Now I am almost 49. Obviously, that was many years ago, but it's something I learned very young. At 15, I learned what you learn. I mean, at 15, they taught me this, or I learned this. What you learn, if it benefits you, right, you should share it with others, with other people. And around there, exactly what spiritual qualities help you professionally? Yes, we'll talk about those. Luis Una said that quality of empathy, right? Of doing to others what you would like them to do to you. So then, well, everything I learned, obviously, I shared it. I shared it with my classmates at the high school. I shared it with my family. And obviously, I knocked on doors. You know, I had to talk to people I didn't know. And many people, yes, don't like having their door knocked on, but well, it's a responsibility. And although we're not going to get into the debate, since we're not going to get into the debate of whether it is right or wrong because we can't discuss that, I mean, I'm not the authorized person for that. Zoila, I send you greetings. I don't know why your greeting isn't showing here, but I'll be reading the messages and sending greetings. So check this out. I'm going to tell you this story. The first door I knocked on when I was 15, and you might say, Esta, that's an exaggeration, but I'm saying this sincerely. And I'm not saying it to create conflict, right? But look, the door I had to knock on was the door of the parish house of the church in my town, in my neighborhood. It was at the door of the house part. Obviously, I couldn't skip it, right? Because you see, the witnesses go out in groups. So, well, obviously, someone is doing a task, and one got one door, another got another door. I mean, the witnesses do not choose the doors. I mean, they do not say, "Oh no, I will not knock on this one," unless there is a very special reason for it. But I cannot choose the doors. I mean, I got that one. I tell you with my heart in my hand, with my hand on my heart. And I remember that obviously that gave me, I mean, all the fear in the world. But well, at 15 years old, and a bit about how I was back then. I have always been outgoing. I've never been a shy or timid child. Well, obviously, I said, all right, I guess I'll knock on the door. Knock, 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 knock. And you can imagine the scolding I got. No, look at you. I don't know what else. What are you doing? I don't know what, blah, blah, blah. They scolded me, right? The priest scolded me because the one who came out was the priest from that parish, from that church. He scolded me, went back inside and shut the door, and that was it. And there I didn't get involved or anything. So that's more or less how this story begins. I'm used to it. I'm trained, trained to share what I learn. I do it not for, for, I mean, obviously I earn money and all that you want, but what underpins, what truly comes from the depths of my being. I'm trained, used to sharing what I learned. I also gave Bible studies. I mean, I taught classes to other people, people who are still Jehovah's Witnesses today. I left some quite a number of years ago, but the work I had to do, I did it, which was to share with other people what I had learned or what I was learning. I will tell you later how I met the witnesses, right? So let me know if if I'm doing well, if I'm on track, if I'm boring you, let me know, okay? If you say, Eri, you're boring now, let me know and I'll go to sleep, right? Yes. I would like you to give me feedback. So the spiritual qualities, as Luis asks, the spiritual qualities that have helped me professionally obviously have a lot to do with honesty, sincerity, and love for others. For me, it is very important when I have a business or professional relationship for me, it is very important that there is trust. And Mariana is a witness to that. When I work with people, I establish an equal relationship, because another thing I learned with Jehovah's Witnesses is to avoid that personality cult. That is in my mental framework, and I already had this from before, from childhood, but well, they reinforced it here. With the Jehovah's Witnesses, I learned that power relationships, right, have to be managed in a balanced way. So for me, authority is framed, right, in a, let's say, in a concept where God is the most important person in life, for beings, for us, for human beings, for my life, for the world, for the universe. That's my let's say, that's how I conceive it. That's how I learned it. In fact, before knowing the witnesses, well, I belonged also to the Catholic Church, and in the church, well, in some way, I also learned that God comes before everything. So that in my professional relationship marks a before and after, because I learned to see authority in its proper measure, right? Authority in its proper measure. No, and from and no, and not fall into idolatry, because there are people who idolize people, right, for their position, for their intelligence, for their economic status. And so, well, I don't have that for example, that respect, right? For me, people are on equal footing. You can be the president of anything, of sub, of from I don't know, from company X, where I work, where the client has worked. I mean, for me, that relationship where one person is below and the other is above in a power relationship, for me, that's always been very clear. For example, a client. I do not allow a client to that they put themselves or position themselves above me. And Mariana is a witness to that. One of the things I learned is integrity. The Christian or Jehovah's Witness usually acquires a lot of knowledge. A lot of knowledge during, I will also explain the study routine that we had, that everyone has, right? I don't know if it's changed a bit, Luis will tell me. But Mariana is a witness that with clients, even when the client is the one who has the final say and who pays, I do not let the client demoralize me. Neither degrade me nor affect my self-esteem. Nothing. I mean, I have never allowed that the relationship, right, be an unhealthy relationship where I feel low and the other is above me, right? So, well, that's another thing that I consider as a quality. But remember that the Bible speaks, well, about the fruits of the Spirit, and it usually goes like, being an honorable person, being a person let's say, a kind, right? Generous with others, trying to do good for others. And that's why I titled it Preaching from Door to Door, because you might say, well, imagine Eric, like everyone else, preaching from door to door at 15 years old. I tell you, my first door was for me, the first door was the hardest. But from then on, I never had problems with fear, or in high school, even the principal of the high school knew that I studied with the witnesses and that I was involved in that world. My classmates never disrespected me for that, never bullied me. I was, so to speak, I was lucky. But I think that luck is partly your determination. Always, before being a witness, I was a healthy boy, completely healthy, absolutely without vices. Completely healthy, but I was clear about what I am and what I wanted in my life. I mean, no, I didn't allow people. Actually, I never suffered from peer pressure from friends, never. That's how I am. Well, it's not that, of course, obviously, biblical knowledge and the constant teaching shape you, right? They shape your personality traits to become the best version of yourself possible. Well, my people, so as I was saying, if I have people watching the video, I'm fine. If I don't have people, I'm fine, because I don't do this for people to give me a ton of likes and such. What I do seek, obviously, is for the message to reach, for the message to be able to be heard. In fact, the biblical message is kind of unpopular, because when you knock on a door, many times people treat you badly. No, yes, get out of here, lazy. I don't know what. Oh, annoying. Go do something. What do I know? Right? Thank God I didn't experience much of that, but well, there are people who do, who get rude and suddenly, well, it's a bit, right? They tend to be a bit rude about that. I didn't experience much of that. Thank God I always had good, a good relationship there as I preached with courage. But the most important thing was the determination we have, that a Jehovah's Witness has, and that I had at that moment to go to the door and meet them, right? To seek the person and obviously talk, converse, reason, understand. I'll tell you quickly. Back then, I'm talking about the year 92. Around that time, more or less, when I started going to the congregation to meet with the other witnesses and learn, I had 2 hours of group study in congregation on Tuesdays, 2 hours on Thursdays. And no, that's not true. 1 hour on Tuesdays, 2 hours on Thursdays. Tuesday was the book study. That's how I knew it. Book study Tuesdays, 1 hour. Then Thursday, we had the theocratic school, which was 2 hours, right? And the service meeting. And on Sunday was the watchtower study and the lecture, right? The weekly lecture. So imagine from 15 years old until around 30 or 33, which was when I left. Imagine, right? 5 hours a week, only 5 hours studying with the congregation, not counting the studies that the biblical ones and the personal study, which, well, are also things that a Jehovah's Witness normally does. They have personal study, visit other people, visit them again, impart biblical knowledge. So a Jehovah's Witness is a scholar, let's say, of high cylinder capacity. Studies in a way that probably we won't see, or I haven't seen, obviously, in other religious organizations with which one will, for one reason or another, has contact. So, well, that's another technical professional trait that I learned there with the text. I am trained to study and to study alone. That is, in a group and individually. So, I study a lot, and that has helped me a lot here in the SAP ecosystem. Why? Because in SAP, if you don't study, it's very difficult to advance, right? And not only in SAP, in anything you do, right? But well, in the SAP world, constant knowledge is highly valued, right? The person who studies, who prepares. I'm used to that. I'm used to when a new technology comes out, the documentation comes out, a manual comes out, a video comes out, I watch it, I read it, I practice it, bam, 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 bam. I invest money because these services have a cost. They are not free, not all of them. And I pay for services, I pay for BTP, I pay BTP bills monthly. That is to say, I invest money, I invest time, I invest capacity, brain power, right? Well, so that thing about studying so much, I don't know if Luis is still online, but there are some books that Jehovah's Witnesses have that are incredible. The Insight on the Scriptures, Volume 1, Insight on the Scriptures, Volume 2, Reasoning from the Scriptures, What Young People Ask, The Greatest Man Who Ever Lived, Live Forever Such. In other words, The Watchtower, The Awake Magazine. That is to say, Jehovah's Witnesses are well known. They are known worldwide for their literature. The literature produced by the witnesses is for studying. We have a program the meetings start on time. That's another thing, punctuality. That's another thing I learned with the witnesses. Punctuality is super important. Prior preparation, your participation, I mean, everything I learned, all those habits and those spiritual qualities that one learns, all of that is something I still try to put into practice today. Yes. And that's why, my people, I make these videos. When I make these videos and I create content and share information and do the incubator and give classes, I do it because inside I feel a responsibility to share with my fellow man. Who are you? To share what I learn. So and that's why it doesn't keep me up at night. If directors and C-level people and CEOs follow me, I don't care about that because I work for the entire pyramid. If a director of a company reads me, it's just as important to me as when the final user who uses the computer and uses SAP reads me. I don't have that urge to see myself as a top boy, no, like a person who influencers. I mean, one thing leads to another, but no, it's not something I do so that the most important people follow me. To me, the most important people range from the director who has SAP, Business One or SAP, to the user, right, who's there fighting every day. They asked me, there's a little question here from Zoila. So Zoila, I'm going to read your question. Eric says, how do you manage to balance your spiritual maturity and the wisdom you gain with years of experience in the Lord's path applied to the business world where you operate, considering that you have to deal with many people who often differ, not always, in having a relationship with God? Well, I think that there, Mariana, if she's not asleep, she could contradict me. Zoila, all the people I deal with every day, I handle them in their due proportion. What does that mean? That I'm talking to the company director. To me, they're an ordinary person, right? Like talking to the director of SAP, the same, right? Like talking to the end user. What I don't allow is for them to cite me out. What does that mean? I think, Soila, that because of all the rot, right, that we are living and seeing, the rot, the decomposition, right, of society's values, I think that, and that's biblical, right? I mean, to me, it's foretold in the Bible where it says, well, the love of most will grow cold. And obviously, people who have a fear of God are increasingly silenced, right? Because obviously, the internet and social media and let's say that they greatly enhance, right, all the loss of values and the anti-values we are seeing. So what do? I try not to give to the human beings, to any human being, to anyone. I give it more importance than it has. I don't take it away, nor do I give it more. And I think that's the key, Zoila. I've been able to be myself, and in fact, I have very, very brilliant bosses, very intelligent bosses who have told me, Eric, you are a very authentic guy. Because I don't need to, how should I say? I don't have to pretend anything. In fact, one of the things that normally you have to pretend in life is if you have a very comfortable life. I have a very common, very humble, very simple life. So I don't need to pretend that I am a person living the good life, right? That kind of thing. So answering your question a bit, in the business world, I apply. And as Mariana certifies, I apply, Zoila, this idea that I don't give people more value than they have by divine justice. I don't live by this idea that people, in general, for me, Zoila, people, how should I say it? People push and pull as it suits them. So I learned to give people their fair value no, that this one is that he that he's the director of the company, or this one is whatever. I say, dude, I don't care. I don't let myself get psyched out. I've never let myself get psyched out. And I hope and ask God that I never let myself get manipulated. Obviously, of course, in some situations, such and such. But I have always fought and struggled and defended my positions in what I consider fair to defend them. When I've had to admit someone is right, well, yes. Because remember, as human beings, we all equally make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But what I try to do there, Soila, is not allow people to psych me out. Not even the client or my boss. No one, not even a work colleague, knows what it means to manipulate, right? I mean, manipulate is when the biggest mistake for me that I see today in humanity and people in general is that people want to come and give you lessons on morality and enlightenment and, no. And I don't let that in my life. I don't let that influence me. So I insist professionally, since I've had to sell SAP, I've had to provide support. So when I see that the relationship isn't symmetrical, that there isn't the same commitment from you to there as from there to here, when I see those things, I step back and close, right? I close that line of communication. I am also a highly confrontational person, meaning I face things head on. If I feel that a person, in fact, I am going to tell you an anecdote, Zoila. The other day, a traffic police officer stopped me. And the traffic officer gestured at me like, no, yes, read here. No, he's exaggerating. No, yes, read here. And I told him, dude, don't talk to me like that. I told him, I mean, you can be the authority, but you're not going to be able to talk to me like that. I mean, to me, you're dead. You're already out, right? The guy finally apologized to me. He says, sorry if I made you feel bad, uncomfortable. I say, well, yes, because you're the authority. So you're not going to be like, no, yes, read here, right? What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? I mean, who are you to talk to me like that, right? No matter how much authority you have. Because I insist people often come with that attitude, like they are the owners of the truth, and neither him nor I, nor you nor I. So, well, the relationship with God has to be, well, obviously intimate, but it's like Jesus himself, right? Jesus, was not a simpleton, like, oh, well, no. I mean, he was energetic. When he had to be loving, he was loving. When he had to have compassion and kindness, then he had it, compassion. But when he had to, when he had to assert things here, he would take on that character like, well, sir, look, you're out of here. I mean, this is not a market. Go home and set up a market in your backyard, in your garage, but this is not a market. So if Jesus were in this world with social media and the market scene where people were trading in the house of God, then surely on social media people cancel him, right? They cancel him. They as they say here, expose him. They expose him, because Jesus, well, he stands his ground and says, "No, all of you get out of here, you bunch of shameless people." Okay, you do not know, Soela, because that is written in the Bible, right? I mean, obviously, I do not argue. For me, the Bible is a sacred word, and I respect what the Bible says. So I believe in that. In my professional life, I try to use the same approach. When I need to be a person who is noble and kind, I try to be that. And when I need to be energetic and firm in a position, I am. But for me, the most important thing is so that maybe you all won't be here for 2 hours? No. If anyone has another question, feel free. But for me, the most important thing is, one, what I learn, I feel the need and responsibility to share it. If it's not popular, it doesn't matter, because I am trained to share knowledge and information, whether it's popular or not. If people support me, I am also used to working with support and without support. If they recognize me or not, well, those are just things in life, going here and there. Great. When they recognize me, cool, I'm glad, and I pour well, water, right? Water of blessings. And when they don't, well, that's it, right? Why? Because in the professional world, and as someone said, we are living in a highly conflictive society, highly opportunistic. That is, if it suits them, well, this way, and if it suits them, they go that way. People often act according to what benefits them, not out of values, not by criteria, not by integrity, but well, as they say, if you don't like this personality, I have five more. I can adjust and find the personality you like the most, not me. We don't have to mold the personality just to please others, as they say, lie to please, to coexist. Well, so that was, let's say, that is what I do. When you see that that's why I'm doing this live, right? The live is not to give biblical lessons here, nor much less to come here to act like a philosopher or a spiritual man. No, what I wanted to convey is all the videos, all the content, all the information, all the effort, all my let's say my my intention is to share what I learn. I share. No worries. The topics I usually discuss on my channel are advanced topics for the level of technical maturity we have in the ecosystem. Why? Because I am talking about topics that are, well, very top of the line, meaning they are very ahead of their time. And obviously, well, there are few or no people talking about that subject. Well, obviously the conversation becomes empty because there is no one to talk to. Okay, for example, pag if Darius, if I spoke English, I could have live conversations with Darius, for example. Why? Because he is up to date on these topics, right? That the ones I talk about, just to say something. But if if he spoke Spanish, well, probably yes. So I am creating the conditions. I mean, you see me talking and promoting and doing all this because for me, if I do not have, I mean, if the world around me does not please me, I try to contribute and to create a world for myself, right? I think we all do that. We all create a mini world, a micro system, right? Where we feel comfortable. So I in the SAP B2W ecosystem, I see that people are very basic and very lazy. And well, they're always there, right? In the same thing, asking the same things, always trying to do the same thing, right? Repeating the same thing. I see very few people concerned about, and yes, there are, well, very, very individualistic people who don't share what they're learning, what they're doing, and so on. Not me. I do like to share what I am learning because I think that if I benefit, others can benefit too. So I feel that what I do, well, God repays me with life, with things, with blessings, with our daily bread. Why? Because things, well, God is the provider. But one has to work, right? So I do my job. And you see that I share a lot of information and I do it in a way, most of the information is free. Why? Because I share it with you and you can consume it without needing to pay for it. But well, I also try to bring bread to the table, and that's why I have my courses and that's why I have my consultations, because I also have to provide for Mariana, right? Maintain, right? Maintain the household. It's the responsibility we have to maintain our home. So going from house to house taught me to be able to speak. Um, in fact, I'm trained to speak, right? That's called public speaking. I was trained for how long? 18 years in public speaking. I mean, it's a training that it's not that it's infinite, but rather that you reinforce, learn, and reinforce. I had public speaking classes from 15 to 33 years old. I am trained to express, that is, to communicate, right? To persuade, stimulate, guide. And that's why my title here says mentor, right? Mentor, content, creator, because I am trained to study, share. I am trained to do that. I don't know if anyone has another question. Let's see who else has a question. Obviously, the spiritual qualities. Uh, I try not to let them consume me, not to let them disappear from me, right? Because it's also been many years since I don't go to the congregation or the meetings, that I don't preach. I mean, I'm not active. So obviously, one also loses that spiritual clarity. But I try to live a life as close to what is right as possible. You know, for example, I would never steal someone's their something, right? It's like, well, I'm going to steal it, you know? They asked me here if I am still a witness. I You know that witnesses have like a let's say a condition of inactivity. And that's where I am. I mean, I got baptized when I was young at 16 years old, 16, I think 17 years old, around there. And well, but at 33, 34 years old, well, I completely stepped away and remained in a state of inactivity. So I couldn't tell you, Orlando, that today, I mean, I can't say that I'm not a witness. That is, the fair and real thing would be to say, yes, I am still a Jehovah's Witness, but I have been inactive for many years. So, and obviously, I no longer preach from house to house. I no longer go to the congregation. I don't go to meetings. I don't study Bible literature. I don't do any of that at all. But what you see, right? That I am here, well, in the technical area, right? While the world is going to hell, right? While the world is getting worse every day, right? And now we find out much faster how bad we are, about how rotten our world, our society is, right? Our people, we find out much faster now. But, well, I try to stay there, you know, kind of in a balance of, well, not being a person who practices things that are obviously conflicting, right? That directly violate, you know, the let's say the justice of human nature, like this, right? Like stealing, right? Trying to harm people. And obviously, mind you, I tell you something, I scold the people I teach. If you have taken courses with me, you know that I have scolded people. I mean, and I don't scold them because I'm bad and want things to go badly for them and want to harm them. I scold them so they also have the template, you know, and see that things can't be like that either. He says, of course, I know it's not the theme of your channel, but since you mentioned it in the title, I got curious because in an organization with a lot of restrictions, yes. But I wanted to share with you like how one thing leads me to another, right? I insist. Today's video, what I wanted to convey to you is precisely that. Why do I do what I do, right? You've seen that question, right? That Rusarin asked this man. He says, why do you believe what you believe? Well, if someone asks me, why do you do what you do? I say, well, I do it because for me that's important. It's important. I see it as doing good for others. Imagine that I'm doing good without thinking about who, so to speak. But, well, I mean, I am inspired by those things, you know? Just like preaching from house to house requires a lot of courage and determination because, well, some people are embarrassed to have the door slammed on them or to be called annoying, or some people are scared of being told something. I mean, some people get scared and freeze. And all Jehovah's Witnesses have to overcome that fear. I was one of the people who did not have that problem because, well, I would say, if this is my responsibility, I will do it and not without fear. No, I don't have the fear of, ooh, right? I no one is superior to you, neither morally, nor spiritually, nor in anything. I mean, everyone, right? In that sense, you can't let others mess with your mind. If you're acting wrong, they correct you, they help you, that's fine. But you can't let people mess with your mind. And I try to practice that in my professional life too. I try to make sure people take their place where they need to. No more, no less, no more, and no less. We Sima deserve the respect we they deserve to be treated well, but nothing beyond that. None of that. Oh no, since he's my boss, it's no man the same, whether he's my boss or not. It's the same, right? I mean, no, I don't have to kneel before anyone. And obviously that the only person you use is like God, right? And God, Jesus, and you. No, something like that. There are people who let a lot of others walk all over them, and you think, but why? The wrap up is in, if there are no more questions, I'll tell you something. Today, I dressed with care, right? I had posted somewhere that today I was going to activate the artificial intelligence services of BTP so that, that's part of something called SAP Business AI. And within SAP Business AI, so to speak, we have SAP AI Core and SAP AI Launchpad. And today I set up the services. They're not free, but I set them up, already started testing and using them. Or in the next week, I'll surely make a video to share that with you so you can see it. The people who are with me in the incubator, the group is growing. We now have quite a few people in the incubator. I think we have about 10 people who have registered, who have subscribed for $10 a month and are now in the incubator. And I am teaching them what I know, what I can, with mentoring and I give them access to the tool because it's very important to give people access to the tool so they can try it out, do their exercises, and learn by doing. Because I'm one of those people who learn by doing things, right? Read, of course, I read, research, study, all of that. But finally, what's it called? Finally, I do things in practice to be able to say, okay, now I've seen how it is. So, I am very happy that, for example, I already have an app, right? That works by consuming the API of, because what happens with artificial intelligence? You consume artificial intelligence through the API. And that's very valuable knowledge because it will help me integrate, build apps, build process automation, and instead of integrating them with ChatGPT as I've done before, or with OpenAI, to be more specific, now I will be able to integrate it, but with the artificial intelligence services. I can't say the artificial intelligence of SAP because those are large language models from OpenAI, from from companies that have models that have generated information models, long language models. So it's not that it's it's not that it's SAP's artificial intelligence, right? No, no, I can't call it that way. What I am doing is using the technology. Let me adjust the microphone here. What I can say is that I am using SAPI technology. I am using SAPI technology to be able to access generative artificial intelligence, right? Right? So that the matter is more or less understood. Questions, my people? Are there no more questions? I mean, how strange. But I want to think that maybe you're also tired. I want to think that already they want to go relax for the weekend. Here where I am, the sun, the blue sky, the beach, I don't know how it is. Today, I saw the beach from afar and it looked bluish, very pretty. But I don't know if there's surf. And when there's surf, it gets a little rough. When not, the beach tends to be very calm and is very beautiful. The beach here in Playa del Carmen, in the beach in this area of the Mexican Caribbean Sea, is very lovely. So, my people, today we share a little. Hopefully, you are encouraged to this, right? To share what you know, to integrate with what I do. I don't know, right? To be encouraged to to form an active conversational ecosystem, because that is what I that is my wild dream, right? To have people. I in fact thank God, well, there are people I can talk to. There's Saul, right? And the people who are now, you are in the incubator. There are good colleagues there who are Sapi Business One consultants from Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, Sapi users. There are people who are in Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela. I think someone from Peru joined us, a girl that we are going to train from Peru. So that is like a mission, right? Of my life. My mission is, I am almost 50 years old. I mean, I already have over 30 years of professional experience, meaning I haven't retired because, well, I have to work a little to earn what is necessary. But I am almost retired from professional life, so to speak. So that allows me to study, learn, share it with you. I already explained a little bit. I used the topic of Jehovah's Witnesses to show you that it is not a trivial matter, that one day it just occurred to me and I said, no, but there is a solid foundation for me on why I do this, why I do what I do, why I believe what I believe. And why do I insist? And why do I strive so much to share with others? And sometimes people tell me, Eric, but nobody acknowledges that. In Tamiram, there are people who or for example, Edmundo Delgado, Edmundo Garcia. Edmundo, who is a friend from here in Mexico, he tells me, Eric, I don't see SAP, or I don't know because SAP doesn't support. I don't know, something like that, right? Renato asked me these days, hey, SAB should give you a little more support. And I know I handle that thing very delicately because, well, on one hand, SAB is not obligated. And on the other hand, I say, well, if it's convenient for them. Well, no, I mean, sometimes the matter is complicated. It's complicated because if they ask me coldly, I would say, well, if I were SAP, right? If I am SAP and I see a person who genuinely, spontaneously is promoting the product, or let's suppose the partners, let's talk about the ecosystem, to not talk about SAP, then at the very least, we should support them, right? Let's give them, they need the support and such. Well, to put it in some way, it comes from me, right? But there are people, I have friends who tell me, Eri, I mean, I feel that no, that you are not valued or compensated. There, I try to apply the biblical. I say, look, this, if I am doing it from the heart, may God bless me. I mean, God will bless me for that. It says, thanks for always sharing. Go ahead, Eric. Greetings from Centauros Digital Honduras. A pleasure. I don't know why the comments don't appear here in the conversation. I find that annoying. Well, you learn one thing and tomorrow you already have another, but that keeps you stimulated, keeps you active, and it lets you continue. I hope, I say, if I had lived in this era 20 years ago, gosh, I don't know, right? I say, well, it happened to me almost in my 50s when I feel that I already, well, spent my whole stage, right? That professional life one has at 30, between 30 and 40 years when you are at full capacity. While now, well, I am a little slower, more like more retired, more senior. Well, my people, take care. Happy weekend. I hope you like the topic. Give it a like, right? That's what I always tell you. Did you like it? Give it a like. Does it serve you? Give it a like, share it, comment on it. I mean, let's help it reach other people. And if not, then you yourself start a channel, open a channel here and start to expose, right? To share, and we'll do it here. I'm waiting for people like me to come out and share content about in Spanish on topics of business one about this. I'm not talking about the videos that partners make because that's something else. I'm talking here about this, about these live things like this, face to face. I'm not talking about what the partners do because I don't know if a partner, just to name one, if a VCT, makes videos, explains, well, I congratulate them. That's fine. I'm talking about this, about generating knowledge, empathy, professional growth. It says here Saul says, always breaking it to my good greetings. It was very different from the usual. Go, Pastor. Exactly. Well, my people, take care. Thank you for joining me. A hug for everyone, for Orlando, for Saul, for Luis Milanesi, for Zoila, for Mary, who is here with me. Thank you for joining me in this conversation today. And let's move forward. Let's continue supporting the ecosystem. Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing together. Don't miss the Congress, the next Congress. Help me spread the word about the Congress to all the users, all the partners, all the consultants, to all the people we can. Help me through social media, share the the information about the Congress. Next week I will have an interview with Hector Rivas, who is an amazing guy, a great young man, a genius, a superstar, Mexican. I will interview him next week on Friday. Nestor, thanks to you. Thank you, Nestor. And well, the idea is that there are, at the Congress, there are some exhibitions, all the exhibitions of the Congress. They are great, and there will be people from SAP. There will be an end user, a developer, an end user from technician, end user, consultant. I mean, there will be marketing people from Vexa who will be with us from sales at Avanti. I mean, the conference, I'm telling you, is super wow. People from Germany with iSystem with Hector Munoz. Marco Munoz. From Mexico, Sky One with Rafael, that is from Brazil. I mean, I insist, help me promote the Congress because it's going to be great. The second Congress is going to be great. So, as Isao says, of course, we need to promote the conference. So, my people, I send you a hug. Forgive the bad, forgive me for the bad, forgive me for the bad. If you have ever felt offended by me, by what I have said or done, well, forgive me for the bad. You got to know a little more about me. I am here to help, to share and help. Just like I grew, others can grow. That's my mission, isn't it? If I grew, others can grow. Each at their own pace, each in their own way. So with that, we close everyone. Take care and see you very soon. Bye-bye.